Hello everyone. So now hopefully after covering the first part, you all have a basic idea regarding the colloidal dispersion system, right? So in this, we are going to deal with the types of the colloidal system. So without wasting any time, let's start the presentation. See, the term colloids, it has a meaning. Colloid means glue-like gum. Colloid means glue-like, or we used to call the glue in our local language as a gum, right? So cola means the glue, and oid means the like, means same, right? So the colloidal system, we all know that we have already discussed. It's a dispersion system where the internal phase, that is the dispersed phase, are the particles which are uniformly or homogeneously dispersed in the dispersion medium. So dispersed phase, it is known as the internal phase. Dispersion medium, it is known as the external phase or the continuous phase. Hope it is clear to you now, right? So the next thing, you should know the particle size. The particle size in the colloidal system, it ranges from 0.5 to 1 micron. I repeat, the particle size of the colloidal system, it varies from 0.5 to 1 micron. So in the colloidal system, the particle, they generally pass through the filter paper. So these particles generally move out through the filter paper. If we try to filter the colloidal system, they will generally pass off the filter paper, but they can't pass through a semi-permeable membrane, and thus they diffuse very slowly. The colloidal particle, they diffuse through the semi-permeable membrane very slowly, right? Example of colloidal system: gelatin, acacia, or rubber. These are the colloidal system. So the colloidal system which we are going to deal with or generally encountered in the pharmacy, it includes the following. First of all, the surfactant micelle. The surfactant micelle, we are going to use this surfactant micelles, or we generally encounter this surfactant micelles while preparation of emulsions, right? Next one, it is the suspension, right? Then the emulsion, then the inhalation aerosol. These all are the colloidal system which we generally encounter very often in the pharmaceutical unit operation. Next, it is the suspension of the microorganism in case of the microbiology. So now let's see the differences between this system. The first one, it is the molecular dispersion. You should know, in the molecular dispersion, the size, it is always less than 1 nanometer. Means the particle of the molecular dispersion, you cannot see it through the general conventional microscope, as well as you cannot see it by the electron microscope. The molecular system or molecular dispersion, they generally easily pass to the filter paper as well as to the semi-permeable membrane. Example: oxygen molecules in the water, ordinary ions, and the glucose solution, as I have already told you. The next system, it is the colloidal dispersion. The size of the colloidal dispersion, it ranges from the 1 nanometer to 0.5 micrometer, right? So you cannot see the colloidal system with the microscope, the general microscope, but yes, using a electron microscope, you can easily see, or you can easily observe the colloidal particles. The colloidal particles, they passes through the filter paper, but they do not generally passes through the semi-permeable membrane. Thus they diffuse very slowly. Example here: the silver solution, natural and synthetic polymers, cheese, butter, jelly, paint, even the milk, shaving cream, etc. These are the colloidal dispersion. The next one, it is the coarse dispersion. They have a size greater than the 0.5 micron. This coarse dispersion, as I have already told in the previous discussion, that is the blood cells, they form the coarse dispersion, right? So these are easily visible under the microscope. They generally do not pass to the normal filter paper. Thus you can use the concept of dialysis, right? In the dialysis, we used to retain the cells, right? So Example, grains of sand, most of the pharmaceutical suspension, emulsion, as well as the red blood cells in the blood. So this all comes under the coarse dispersion, right? So now let's see the types of the colloid. So on the basis of the interaction between the dispersed phase, I repeat, interaction between the dispersed phase, or you can say the internal phase, with that of the external phase. The interaction between the dispersed phase with that of the dispersion medium, the colloidal systems are divided into three types. First of all, the lyophilic colloids, next one the lyophobic colloids, and the last one it is the association colloids. So what do we mean by lyophilic? We all know that lyophilic means water loving, right? So in lyophilic system, the dispersed phase or the internal phase, they have a greater affinity towards the dispersion medium. They always love the solvent. Usually we consider the water as a universal solvent. Thus you can say the dispersed phase, they have a strong tendency towards the dispersion medium. Moreover, the important thing is that in the lyophilic colloids, the dispersed phase, whatever the phase means, whatever the dispersed phase may be, right? The dispersed phase, they have, or they generally form a sheet or cover over their surface, and this cover is made by the dispersion medium. I repeat, in the lyophilic colloids, the dispersed phase, suppose the particles, over the surface of the particles you will find a layer of the dispersion medium. This layer will finally help these colloids to get easily dispersed in the dispersion medium. I repeat once again, the dispersed phase will have a coat of dispersion medium over its surface. This makes them easily to get dispersed over or throughout the dispersion medium. So thus it makes the system thermodynamically stable. For this reason, the preparation of lyophilic colloid is very easy in the pharmaceutical unit operation. Example, dissolution of acacia, gum acacia, or gelatin in the water, or celluloid in the amyl acetate leads to the formation of solution, that is the lyophilic colloids. Now if you go to the next part, it is the lyophobic colloids. Phobic means hating. Here the dispersed phase hates the solvent. Means the colloid is composed of the material that have a very little attraction, that is a solvent hating, and is possible between the dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Means the dispersed phase in the lyophobic colloids, they hate the dispersion medium, right? These are stable. These lyophobic solutions, the colloids are also stable, but it is due to the earlier, in the lyophilic, they were stable because the dispersion medium forms a cover over the dispersed phase, right? In the lyophobic, they are stable because due to the presence of the surface charge. The charge, it is present over the surface of the dispersed phase. This charge actually helps in the repulsion between the particle. Thus this particle, they don't get aggregated and they don't form the lump, which makes them easy to construct or easy to formulate. So these are the lyophobic colloids, and the property differ from those of the lyophilic colloids, right? So this is primarily due to the absence of the solvency around the particles. The difference between the lyophilic and lyophobic, it relies on the absence of the coating of the dispersion medium, or coating, or you can say sheet of the dispersion medium over the dispersed phase, which is found in the lyophilic. In the lyophobic, you don't have that coating, right? Now how you are going to make the lyophobic colloids? See, first of all, reduce the particle size of the coarse particles. Suppose you have a coarse dispersion, you want to make it lyophobic colloids, or you want to make it a colloid, then what we are going to do? Just top down, means coarse particles have a bigger size, break the size of the particle, top to down, it will get converted into colloids. The coarse dispersion get converted into colloidal dispersion, reduce the size of the particle size of the coarse particle, right? Next, it is the condensation. It is the reverse. It is the reverse. It is also known as the bottom up. So here, smaller particles or molecular size particles, they will join together to form the size of the colloidal particle. How it can be done? See, dispersion of particle by using high intensity ultrasonic generator at a frequency of 20,000 cycles per minute. If we disperse the particle using a ultrasonic generator, then this particle will get aggregated to form the colloidal dispersion. This is the first method. Next method, production of electric arc within a liquid. Suppose you have a liquid, there you are having the molecular dispersion. Now just put two electrodes within the liquid, produce an electric arc. This electric arc will help the molecular dispersion to get aggregated to form the colloidal particle. It's a condensation method, right? The next one, it is the milling and grinding. Milling and grinding, we all know, just break the size of the particle. It is milling and grinding will be used for the first one, that is reduce the particle size of the coarse particle, right? In the fourth method, supersaturation method. Example of supersaturation: sulfur is dissolved in the alcohol. Let's take some sulfur, it is dissolved in the alcohol. Concentrated solutions to transfer the sulfur and alcohol solution now will be transferred to water. When you are going to transfer the concentrated solution to water, small nuclei will produce. Smaller particle size will be produced, which will grow in size rapidly to form the colloidal solution. This is another way, that is the supersaturation method. Smaller sulfur, right? We have taken the sulfur, we have dissolved the sulfur in the alcohol, just transfer this sulfur alcohol solution to the water. Initially smaller nuclei will form, they will generally grow in size to form the colloidal dispersion. By chemical reaction also you can form the colloidal, that is the lyophobic colloids. How? First of all, reduction. When the metal treated with a reducing agent, if we treat a metal with a reducing agent, for example formaldehyde, it will produce the atom that will lead to formation of the colloidal aggregates. That is a lyophobic. Oxidation also you can use. The oxidation of hydrogen sulfide, it produces a sulfur atom which leads to the formation of colloidal aggregates. Hydrolysis, you can add excess quantity of water to the ferric chloride solution. The hydrolysis will produce, right, and this hydrolysis leads to form rich solution of hydrated ferric oxide. These all are lyophobic. Next, it is the double decomposition. Double decomposition between the hydrogen sulfide and the arsenious acids. It leads to the formation of arsenous sulfide solution. So these are the examples of the lyophobic. So I repeat once again, you just see preparation of lyophobic. First of all, reduction. Just reduce the size, you are going to get the lyophobic of what? The coarse particle. Condensation, molecular particle will get mixed together or will be they will form the aggregate to get a lyophobic colloids. Then production of electric arc. Just put two electrode in the liquid, you are going to get the lyophobic colloids. Milling and grinding, it is similar to this only. Supersaturation method, by this you are going to get a lyophobic colloids. And similarly, reduction using the formaldehyde, oxidation as discussed earlier, and hydrolysis. So that's all from the lyophobic colloids. Next one is the double decomposition. The last one, there is a double decomposition between the hydrogen sulfide and arsenous. We have already discussed, it will form the arsenous sulfide solution. So thank you everyone for your patience hearing. If you like the video, press the like icon. You can share this video and you can subscribe to my channel. Thank you once again.